This
working?
conference will now be recorded.
The time is now 6:30 p.m. and I am going to call to order the Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. We will start this meeting with a roll call vote. Roll call.
Steve Dembitsky.
Jane Alden.
Tom Damon.
John Scanlon.
Okay, and our first case tonight is Old Yankee Woodworks. It's Planning Board Case 21-08. And they need to go see the zoning board, and therefore we're going to continue their case until the next meeting. I'll make a motion to continue it to the next meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. The next case is Hussman. It's a minor subdivision plan, Planning Board Case 21-09, 77 Winter Street, map R17, lot 19, and it's a 2-lot subdivision. And I think you have an application.
So I mailed you a copy of the large plan as well as I could make it at the time because I didn't have them 11 by 17, but I have them now. If it's easier for you to view, they're on the table. So if you look under your agenda, I had Mr. Kraus email me a smaller one so that I could give it to you. So it gives you the whole plan. Yeah, and Mike.
And they did appear before the zoning board, and
We have to do the application.
they did appear before the zoning board. I went to that meeting and the variance was granted.
Oh.
Everybody does have the application in front of them, don't they?
Yep.
We're going to make a motion to bring it to the board for review. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna assume fees should be checked, yes.
Yep. And the variance is attached.
The decision.
That's only one.
I think it's right under there.
Yeah.
No, this is minutes.
No.
Right here.
Done? Eric?
I know, right?
I'll make a motion that we accept the application as substantially complete.
I'll second that. All in favor? Any discussion? Aye. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is David Krause. I'm here. The Hussmans, I believe, are online.
They said they were going to be trying to be online. I don't know, are they? They're not. She had a meeting and she.
They have a selectmen meeting.
The property is 2.67 acres. It's located on the north side of Winter Street. It's basically just across the street from the main entrance to the middle school off of Winter Street. It's located in the mixed residential zone. The property is basically to divide it into two parcels. The house and barn will go with 1.002 acres and will be a vacant lot with 1.670 acres.
David, just for the record, it's not mixed residential because we have a mixed use. I think it's medium residential,
Medium.
just so that. the record.
Everybody know
I
where
need
it
to
is.
change that in my notes too, so.
Only because we have a mixed use, so anyone.
Minimum lot size, I believe, 1 acre.
It is.
Properties serviced both by town water and sewer, and letters have been submitted. The utilities are amenable to them servicing the new lot. We did submit a driveway permit from DOT for the new lot. It was granted in '87, I believe.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yep, we have a copy of the driveway permit, the letter from the sewer and from the water precinct that he just provided tonight.
Be happy to entertain any questions the board may have.
All right. Any member of the planning board have any questions?
The intention to build another house on the other one?
They'll either build or sell the lot, yes.
The second lot is the one with all the wetlands, right?
Yeah, it's wet
right back
here, it's kind of a horseshoe shaped thing.
Here. It's waiting that.
What's the minimum lot size land for medium use?
So it's 1 acre, and that's why they went to the zoning board, because they can't count the wetlands as part of the 1 acre, so they did go to zoning and get approval for that. Again, where they have public sewer, it's not as big an issue as if they have a septic, like we saw with the case with Colby Road.
Yeah.
So the zoning board did grant it. It's way up in the back, it's not going to be used, so.
Any questions from the planning board?
Yes, I have one question.
Mhm.
I have visited the site. And it seems to me, I have both copy of that and I have this one right here. Okay? And it seems to be, to me, that there's a telephone pole directly in front of the frontage on the 100.18 feet.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, how are you going to get a driveway?
The driveway is the existing driveway that comes in around to the barn.
So they're going to share that driveway?
They're going to use it to access back here. They may retain an easement to use that just to get to the barn. I don't think that's been formally decided yet, but
This house is vacant now?
I
No.
do not.
No,
No, it's not
no, it's
vacant?
not
I
vacant.
don't believe it's vacant.
No, it is not.
No, they.
Oh, it is not. I didn't think it was, but I was just asking.
So there's
So basically, basically this new lot, 73,111 square feet is basically unusable. So we're just saying,
No.
The new lot, the total is 72,765. And there is
That's not-
39,000 square feet of upland, non-wetland soils.
show me where the non-upland wetland soil is.
From here all the way back until
And that's buildable on that area? It is?
that's upland.
Okay.
So we had Tom Sokolowski from TES Environmental come out and did the wetlands delineation.
Okay.
Any other questions from the planning board? All right, I'll open it up to the public. Any questions from the public? Right, I will,
Let them know they have to be in mic if they want to speak.
Is there anybody on? No?
John Bash?
John, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. All right, if there's no questions or no comments, I'll close it to the public. And I'll entertain a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept planning board case 21-09 as presented.
I'll second it.
You say approve, so you accept, approve, you said.
Yeah. All right, any discussion, any more discussion from the planning board?
So, yeah, I have a question. On the application, on number 5, I was wondering why those don't get filled out. Should they have that filled out? It says, make no changes whatsoever to final plat as approved by the board unless the revised final plat is for re-subdivision submitted and approval. And then it says the name of the person while communications be sent to the next plan. So who would they send the communications to or legal process?
I don't know what you want, John.
Number 5 on the
Oh,
application.
here?
We're talking here. That's something we can discuss later, but let's make sure that that's filled out.
Revised plat.
Okay.
Can we fill it out now? Because, you know, I'm approving
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
it's missing a
Yeah.
thing, so.
I
Who
would
would
say
we
it would be
do?
the husband.
It is the husband.
Yes.
So, you know, I guess.
We'll just make sure that's
Mr. and
filled out,
Mrs.
make sure that's filled out in the
Husband.
future. Okay, so done.
And the name is right there.
Yeah, it's right,
Charles and Vicky.
that's right, it's Charles and Vicky, is a subdivision site planner. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll set the monuments and get you final plans.
We go with the registry. Great, thank you.
The next case before the planning board is the Momentum Properties. It's mixed use at 179 East Main Street, map 04-05. It's going to change from a municipal building, it was the old police station, to starting point sober living, to transitional living for 15 to 20 residents following completion of inpatient care program.
Is this the application?
Yes.
Change of use application. Yeah,
It's
so
it's
this,
a change of use. It is permitted in,
it is a permitted use.
yeah,
It is going from municipal to a sober living house, so I asked them to come to the board as a change of use, and then you can decide whether or not you need a full site plan review. I don't believe they're doing any changes to the site other than inside the building. So I'll let them present. I'm not really that familiar with everything they're doing either, so
Good
that's what
evening.
they're here for.
My name's Nathan LeBrecq. My business partner, Eric Labarge, he also owns Starting Point Sober Living, primarily located in Manchester. My best friend, my wife, is attending as well. So I guess apologize for any ignorance or lack of experience doing this. I understand that if call out the pink elephant, some people always have concerns about what's going to be happening in sober living, transitional housing, and if it's a crime concern or going to be depreciating your local property values. And from our experience, it doesn't in any way. These guys have watched them be the guys that will help somebody shovel the driveway, load things into the vehicles. They're just right now we've got a real issue with drug abuse, and there's a lack of sufficient transitional housing because they're going from direct intensive inpatient care where they're supervised 24 hours a day and they're very structured routine to absolutely nothing, no support system. A lot of these people have burned a lot of bridges in the process of getting to where they are in life. So this is just an opportunity to maintain an element of structure while they gradually transition back into comfortability with being a regular citizen. And happy to answer any questions or concerns that anybody might have. And Eric certainly knows it far better than I do.
Can you talk more specifically about, how many people, cars, hours, that type of thing? More about how the property's going to be used.
Cars are very, very limited. I apologize if I interrupt. Cars are very limited. Most of these people, they don't have enough money to get a vehicle, which is why location is very key. They need easy access to work. We help them secure work, get a job. There's, like we said, it'd be 15 to 20 people. There's going to be a house manager who oversees the entirety of it. But beyond that, you're not going to have excessive parking. You'd see probably on an average day 3 or 4 vehicles in the parking lot. There are no odd hours. These people, it's a family environment. So they're not up at midnight, 2 in the morning with loud music or anything like that. They're just living day to day.
Employees, how many employees?
So there'll be one person who's there full time or on the clock, and then there'll be, I'm sorry, there's 2, because there'll be 2 units there. So there'll be 2 people that are there full time. And then we also have, we've got directors, support staff, managers that would be in and out between the other locations in Concord and Manchester and here, just touching in to make sure everything's going according to plan. Generally, the 2 managers on the property make sure that the guys are responsible for maintaining the household, the lawn, snow removal, et cetera. So everything looks well. We're in the process of doing everything we can without a permit because we needed your blessing before we can get those, but the place will be beautiful when it's done. So we like to keep it that way long term.
At any one time, what's the maximum employees? We have 20 residents. How many employees at any one time, the max?
Typically, we divide a certain amount of people for each manager. So that could be like 6 people per manager.
So like 7, 8, 10?
It'd be maximum of 3 employees, but then you'll also have residents. They'll live
So
there,
there's
sleep there.
Okay.
There's 2 people that are like full-time managers. And we have another manager that oversees him, and then someone that oversees him, and then we oversee them. So,
Is this basically a halfway house?
so to speak, I guess you could say that. So what we do is we provide structure and housing for people, like Nate said, that are getting out of treatment. And normally the process that goes through is we work closely with certain treatment centers and we do a phone screen and we screen thoroughly for sex crimes and arson charges because it's almost mandatory. From there out, like Nate said, we help them find jobs, we help them get insurance, we get them back in their family and in their environment, and we get them connected and, basically get on their feet and become productive, citizens of society. We've done really well in Manchester. We have a great relationship with the fire department. Chief Gordon, even though he just retired, we work with Paul Parisi from the state fire marshal. He just stepped down, so we work with Sean Holmes Toombs now. And, we just want to be very transparent. And we do really good stuff in the community. Every Christmas, we post up across the street from the shelter. We hand out bags to the homeless. We do tons of drives. We help in parks. And it's good for the people who are changing their lives to get that connection back in with the community.
Is there any
Doesn't
medical
matter.
staff there?
No, we don't provide any
Prescription
medical
drugs or
services.
anything like that?
What we do provide in emergency cases, we are overseen by NH Core. And they do have a set of standards that we have to follow through to get certified with the state. So we work very closely with them. They do walkthroughs. They check stuff. So that, there's another,
There's body that oversees, yeah.
Right.
Just to bring it full circle, so I apologize. In my mind, when I think halfway house, I think criminal conviction transition to, some type of prison sentencing. These are not people coming out of prison or jail. These are people coming out of, detox and inpatient rehabilitation for drugs and alcohol.
Well, I understand that, but I worked for 30 years in the Boston area, and there were a lot of what we'll quote halfway houses for alcoholics at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I use the term halfway house.
Sure,
Okay?
Yeah, so exactly.
Will be all adults? No, you said
all
family environment. There's no families, right?
I'm sorry, it is no families. They work and operate day to day as if they were one family, but it's not families. It's single
And men only?
men only.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Yes. One of the things that concerns me is you plan on leasing this to Starting Point Sober Living?
Yes, Yes, sir.
or Sober Living of New England, which is it?
Starting Point Sober
Starting
Living
Point Sober Living.
is our company. We have two companies. One is property, and we plan on leasing that to Starting Point Sober Living.
It's kind of confusing.
So I apologize. So Eric right now owns Starting Point Sober Living. Eric and I both opened Momentum Properties. We purchased a group of 5 properties for them in Concord and put them here.
Oh, so Momentum is,
Own that. So Momentum Properties, we jointly own. He owns Starting Point Sober Living. So from a business or accounting standpoint, it's simply leasing from one company to the other. But you're speaking to everybody that's involved in the equation right now.
the other concern that I have is the amount of people that you're going to have there, as per the square footage of the building. You know what I mean? I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm thinking you may have too many people in that facility for the amount of square footage that's there.
Sure. That's one of the things that's regulated by NH Corp. And we stay significantly under. So they mandate that you have 50 square feet per person in a bedroom, and you have a total of 200 square feet of overall living space. That's the.
This is all mandated?
So yes, the
Yes.
RSA
Okay.
just went through
And-
the State House and they passed the new
Okay.
bill, which said 200 square feet per person living area and 50 square feet per person in a bedroom.
So the living area is common area,
Yes,
and then the 50 square feet is their private personal?
that's the living
The
quarters.
living
correct.
quarters?
Yes, correct.
You answered my question of how many staff you're going to have. You're going to have 2 full-time, and then one, like, 3 people coming and going as
Overseeing.
overseer. Okay. If my memory serves me well, and it doesn't, there was a place across the street at 154 Main Street called the Tilton House. Now, do you know if that place is still in existence or still functioning?
From what I heard, they closed it.
So I'm not sure, was the Tilton House just a boarding house or was it?
I don't know what it was, but I'm
So
asking.
if I may interject, it was a boarding house.
Okay.
They had plans to open a sober house there. They came before us for a conceptual. We told them they had to do a site plan, so they decided to not go forward.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
it's just a rooming house.
Thank you.
I was going to say, the only reason I know that is the police have actually have popped in quite a few times just to kind of check out what's happening with the
Sure.
facility. And they mentioned that place was there, but I'm not familiar with what they do.
If you, a couple of more questions.
Yeah, please.
I'm also concerned about your fire protection compliance.
Sir.
So is that, do you have the permits for that
So I can't submit for any permits prior to this.
prior to this?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll be part of his permits. When he gets his building permit, he'll have to get fire approval.
Okay.
They get a CO to go in there.
Okay.
We already spoke, Eric already spoke with,
Sean Toomey, he's going to be doing
Okay.
walkthroughs and
That's
working
good.
with us on our fire system.
I've also never seen a more extensive sprinkler system in my life. So we have.
It's already sprinkled, right?
Oh, my goodness.
This was
Because it
a
was a
police
police.
station. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean it wasn't dismantled by others. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So the sprinkler system, so apparently somebody was doing some high pressure testing like 2 days before we closed on the building. We already got the keys. So we found out that the system worked because I guess it blew out the Tilton school that's kind of just back from there, and our sprinkler system actually set it off. That's how we met the police, was because luckily we never changed the door code. So the cops got there with the fire department when our sprinkler went off, and they helped us clean up all the water, and they were awesome about it. But we know the sprinkler system is 100% very functional.
Okay. One more question, if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
mind.
Please.
You say you're screening for sex crimes and arsonists.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other one that I'm concerned about is people that are violent, as opposed as they say in PTSD. I'm living with a family member who has PTSD, and is there any time that they can go off the rails and cause any harm? Are you prepared for that?
I think he can handle it. We are.
Yes.
So, that's where these come in place. We monitor what they do very closely. They get breathalyzers, they get UAs, which is a urine analysis,
Yeah.
drug test.
And how often is that done?
Twice a week, they get breathalyzed anywhere from every day to every other day.
Okay, and what is the turnover rate how long is these residents stay there? That's what I'm asking.
Good question. So I got guys that have been with me for 2 years. They completely changed their life around. They give back. They work for me now, and they oversee the other guys who are just starting off.
So you just don't bring them in and
No. These are
shuffle
people
them
that
through?
came up through my program that
Okay,
get to a certain point where they can oversee other people. I don't know if anybody's familiar with recovery, but you have sponsors who oversee
Sure.
and help people through their journey through recovery. So they end up sponsoring a lot of the guys. I mean, it's very extensive. And the good point, the good thing about sober living is we don't just take them in and then when they're done, say, get out of here. We actually have a team that comes and we get them back into treatment. So if they do have a slip or a relapse, 90% of the time, we're the ones giving them a ride to treatment, picking them up, and then bringing them back if there's a slip,
okay.
which we catch right off the bat.
So this is really a transitional living.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And you know, our clientele is anywhere from police officers. I've had 3 police officers that have been with me. You know, lawyers. I've had a doctor one time. Like these are the spectrum is so wide of people that come to us to get structure and you know, to help to
Is this
transition.
New Hampshire residents only or compared to what?
No, it's not restricted. It's so, just because it will be based out of New Hampshire, it's you know, it's overseen and monitored by New Hampshire NH Corps. So you need to get the home certified by them prior to you actually having residents and such. However, it's open to residents from anywhere. Generally speaking, the Core Foundation is based out of New Hampshire. However, people go all over the place because a lot of times removal from an environment that they're really familiar with is really beneficial to staying away from their prior habits.
Any more questions from the planning board?
Sure. Are you familiar with our housing standards ordinance?
The housing, I didn't hear you.
Housing standards ordinance?
I am not, sir. No.
So in Tilton, we have a housing standards ordinance that pertains to the size of bedrooms, windows, ventilation. What other things does it cover? It's pretty thorough.
Okay.
And it's more stringent than the state guidelines.
Okay.
So,
That's for residents though.
That's first inside.
so a lot of those may apply more than what you're saying. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not so familiar with it.
Because every town or city is independent. So I apologize. I'll be happy to get familiar with it and ensure that, you know, anything.
Yeah, because that would be more for the layout or your plans or anything like that.
Sure. Like I said, we based it off of the state RSA, what they just came up with, which was
This is
the
just.
200 square feet. We have to go by guidelines of
That should make
60.
things-
Excuse me, I can't hear. Could you?
But ultimately, we're happy to comply with any, you know, the last thing we want to do is come into an area and have any controversy.
And it's, what I'm doing is it's a heads up for you.
And I appreciate it. I write it down and I will get first on it. I certainly will.
When you're speaking, could you go to the microphone?
Yes.
Yeah. It's,
You might want to slide the table up. Tell me the microphone.
We can snuggle a little bit.
It's kind of a tough guy, isn't it?
6 inches.
That's what you mean, 6 inches.
So, yeah, so that's the one thing. The next thing is we've set amounts of parking spaces that are required per resident and employee.
Yep, that's.
And I don't know if you checked into that.
So so right now, so we're sitting with Mike Landry, head of, I forget, down in Manchester. And they were a little bit conflicted about because there is no actual classification for, or zoning classification for sober living facilities. So they were questioning whether or not it qualified under a boarding home, family, or
Covenant living.
yeah.
Here it would fall under adult care facility. We have a category for it.
Okay, gotcha. So in that case, so we have a total of 23 parking spaces. So one of the circumstances, I can't imagine that with 23 parking spaces, we'd have over one parking space. But we have, I guess at that point, exactly one parking spot per resident and per employee. So I don't believe that parking would be an issue. However, if there's anything that I'm missing, then I'd be happy to I'll look into it and ensure that everything complies.
The double checks in case,
Yeah.
again, no surprises when you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the handicap one is required.
Required.
Yes. Yep.
Did they?
Well, so the paint's a little bit faded, that hasn't been, however, we did leave the entire upstairs handicap accessible, so
The
yes.
ramp, everything,
Yep,
front
the
doors.
ramps there, front doors, all your bathroom doors, we made sure that, bathrooms stayed handicap accessible, et cetera. So the entire upstairs will stay handicap accessible as well.
And next thing, and I apologize, I took your plans up, but I studied.
That's okay.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
So I'm just gonna ask the question.
It's great for us,
One of
too.
them was trash and dumpsters. Because when you have that many people living in one place, you're gonna generate a significant amount. So you're gonna put the dumpster.
So we have a contract already in Concord. We're waiting for this to happen, but that is our plan to provide a dumpster on the property.
And put that on the site plan. And the other thing is we have bears, so a lot of times we require people put fencing around them.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
doesn't flat out blow around.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think that's, so I can think of mostly heads up for you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that, yeah.
We put on here, we're gonna have, 1 3x5 non-illuminated sign with company
Oh, yeah, okay.
logo. So they just have to meet sign requirements, sign ordinance.
In the same location as the,
As
you know,
the
put that in the
old-
same location as a PD sign?
They cut
Oh, they-
they cut our post out. We did put an American flag back on the flagpole. That counts.
Kept it American.
So I will have to put new posts in for a sign, but that's fine.
And any additional lighting beyond what they have already at the new scene?
No, actually, we'll be removing some of the
Okay,
front lighting. They've got some really bright floodlights in the front shining up. We'll be removing those.
and
But the
cameras?
parking lot will be.
Parking lot will stay the same. Parking lot will be illuminated. Yep, absolutely.
And will the security cameras be located where they are now?
So they won't be in the same locations. The PD did take out all of
Okay.
the fundamentals of their security system. However, we use Nest cameras in all of our other houses. So there will be wired 24-hour surveillance in similar locations. Where they located them are probably relative to where we would want them. They're probably better at locating their cameras than I am. So I may just follow along with that.
Will this be living only, or will there be, for instance, AA meetings or NA meetings or anything like that?
So we are actually in the process of, I think we have a Zoom call with the community center over here. There's one here and there's one in Franklin. We're gonna be working closely with them and seeing what they have for services and recovery. And resources.
There's 2 meetings, I believe, at the Tilton Senior Center,
Oh, great.
okay,
Yeah.
which is located in Lockport.
I believe our meeting with them is this week. So we set up a goal, they want to do a Tilton in Franklin at the same time.
Well, the reason I asked that was because that will definitely change your parking situation, you know.
We won't be holding meetings.
That's what I'm asking, that's
Okay,
why I asked.
Sorry, I didn't.
Okay, no, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So it'll be living only for people in recovery.
Yes.
Any other questions?
If the board is going to approve it at this level, I just would recommend they make it a condition that you get the police and fire to review it as well.
To review which part?
The police review for security
Okay.
and fire.
Yeah.
Our
And that
fire
power would be
inspector
required.
is Tim
Yes.
Joubert. who
Oh,
we should be working with.
I'm sorry, who was it? I'm sorry.
It's Tim Joubert,
At fire.
Tim
We already
Joubert,
had somebody.
Joubert.
Thank you. Without my wife here, I can't spell anything, so.
But you have a French last name.
I know, and of course, my father wasn't kind enough to pass it along, so.
Same. Right.
Okay.
I'm a little confused now. They're not getting treated here,
No, this is a,
just living.
Yeah, this is-
Short term,
Yeah,
couple days.
it's normally, I got guys that stay with me to a couple months to 6 months to a year.
I think it's fair to say that the average resident is somewhere between 60 and 180 days. It's the next step between intensive treatment where they couldn't drive their own car if they want to. They can't go to work day to day. You know, they're jumping in a bus with another group of people that are in treatment with them to go do their, you know, whatever shopping. This is going to, you know, now they have access to their own kitchen, their own living space. It's just one step from.
There's no like nurses or care phone.
No.
So why would it fall in the category of adult care facility if it's basically just housing? It's just like a rooming house,
It's a
We don't provide any
transition
clinical service.
housing.
no clinical service. So it's-
I mean, if
It's
the
supervised.
planning board doesn't see it in that category, then we can put it in another one. That's where I saw the
Yeah,
use.
I don't see any like care, more it's just like housing.
It's literally just structured housing.
Right, but they're supported, there's someone there, when you say caring for them, they're not caring them physically, but there's someone overseeing them, there's a manager there.
Helping them find a job, helping them to
They're not
adjust to
really on
community
their own,
living
yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's-
It's more like transitional housing as opposed to.
Well, it's a
care.
transition house. That's what I asked earlier. It is a transition house. But it is, they are adults and they have
They're being supervised.
being supervised by professionals
And I suppose there is an
in
element.
interacting with the community and with other people.
Professionals,
So
or just like a security type.
The truth is that if they fall out of the parameters of the program, as far as if they relapse and they're caught, they're forced to leave. If it was just housing,
Anybody could just come.
yeah, that would insinuate that anybody could come go, and that we would have to go through like an extensive eviction process. If they relapse, we help them immediately get back into treatment, but they can't even spend the evening, they can't even spend the night beyond, when they're caught using.
Nate, do they pay rent or is this paid by insurance or?
Well, it's a combination. It's not paid by insurance, but there's a combination of whether there's grants from NH Corps.
we get some type of scholarships from different places. NH Corps is one of them. And, a couple other scholarship programs where they pay for their first month with us. And it helps them get on their feet. In that time, we're able to help them obtain work, get back to the trade that they came from, et cetera. So it gives them time to get on their feet.
So oftentimes their initial portion will be assisted. However, beyond that, it's their responsibility to pay rent.
That's more than a boarding house.
If it were not an adult care facility, it would not have to be certified by New Hampshire Code.
Not necessarily. So the NH Corps has been certifying the solar houses. We're not classified with the state as any type of
Residential
caretakers, no.
No, but it's still an adult care facility in that there's supervisors there to help in the transition, and they have a structure that they adhere to.
I don't.
It's not a rooming house. That's
It's
the
not-
point
it's
I'm trying
not-
to make.
yeah,
It's not a
rooming house.
residence and it's not a rooming house.
Yeah.
It's a
So I don't
supervised
know-
transition house.
I don't know,
I see it that way.
yeah,
Maybe
I mean.
We're just
you
trying to
could
be
classify-
careful.
Yeah, you could classify it as anything you like. I just don't want to mislead you or.
Or get classified into something else that takes other
Yeah.
requirements than what we are. Yes.
Well, I'm making my comments to clarify for the board, not for you. Okay?
Thank you very much. Okay, so you were looking at me, so I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. I don't.
So, and the reason is, I don't know if that, depending on how it's classified, would require you to have different types of
People on staff.
people on staff or have different types of requirements and licenses for the people or anything. So, and that's what I'm wondering, is it residential, adult residential care, or is it just a transitional housing? What would the difference be, and what would be the
Well, that's not
implication?
our purview. John, that's
We just
really
have
not
to
our
put it in a
purview.
pocket
It's-
for use. We have to like when we have landscaping companies, sometimes they're manufacturing, we've got to kind of put it in a pocket. Like we don't have every single use, unfortunately, in our ordinance. So it makes it hard sometimes to when people come with a little bit unique businesses that don't fall strictly into one category. So we can kind of find, and you're right, John, we're just trying to balance. Is it a rooming house? We talked about that, or is it transitional? Is it adult care? And it seemed like adult care was the best fit for the use. We're not telling them they have to have any special licenses to be adult care. We're just saying for our zoning districts and what we allow to be as a use, that's where we put it.
Well, either
Certainly, if the
type
planning
is
board's-
allowed, correct?
I'm sorry?
Either type is allowed in that area.
Yeah.
So, it was a question then.
I think the adult care facility puts a little more, I don't want to say control, maybe that's where you were going for planning to look at a little different than
No,
straight.
I'm just trying to sort it out.
Yeah.
Where,
So
like
it sounds like
exactly,
you're trying to give us a heads up that
Identified.
if we end up classified as something more extensive than we are, that we might have more hoops to jump through more, then we might run into some trials and tribulations that we weren't expecting.
Next
So
one.
I appreciate that very much, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the city of Manchester, I believe is they're putting us under congregate living is what they're calling it. So we fall under congregate living zoning requirements.
Right, this is just for zoning. We're just talking-
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
It's really not.
Yep.
It shouldn't affect you.
You can just tell me it's none of my business.
No.
She will, be careful. Is this,
Are there any other questions?
this is not, is this a public hearing? No.
This is just change of use.
Change of use.
So
So we don't
this was
have to have-
something I thought I shouldn't, we could have made the decision in our office on this, that was a change of use and it wasn't allowed use, but I thought, where it's a little more sensitive, that maybe the board wanted to hear the presentation and decide whether they needed more information or not, and that's why we're here. So
Do we need more information? I think we're,
This is great. Thank you guys for the
Yeah, I
opportunity.
do appreciate it. I'd much rather be here than, yeah.
okay.
So we need to vote.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
Welcome to Tilton.
Let me have to
Thank you, sir.
open it. I'm going to open it to the public. All right, I'm going to open it.
No, it's not a public hearing, it's
Oh,
just a
okay.
That's why I
change.
asked.
Yeah, oh, that's
That's fine.
fine. You should ask that.
Because we didn't notice it.
Okay, okay.
Our neighbors were awesome, so I can't imagine them objecting. Our neighbors been great, so.
Again, there's no loud use, so
Yeah.
there's no issue there.
So you've spoken to the neighbors?
Yes, yeah, we have
And,
actually.
well, most of them are on board?
They've been wonderful.
Really?
One of
Good.
them,
I'm glad to hear that.
yeah, one of them, gentleman, I can't remember his real name, but his nickname's Preacher. He's offered to come down every Sunday, do a service for the guys. It's been a surprisingly warm welcome, even just meeting people at Home Depot and such has been a pleasure. It's been a great experience.
Nice
Station, they've been amazing.
It's a nice
Yeah,
town.
yeah, they've been over probably 6 or 7 times.
Good.
They've been awesome about it. It's been a pleasure all the way.
Good.
And we've had our problems with addiction, and so,
Yep.
it's not something new to the community. I think that's why you're getting a warm reception, because we need facilities like
And we
this.
want to be part of the community, to be honest with you. Like I said, in Manchester, we do as much as we can. There was, not too long ago, there was an alderman that was going after sober houses. And Danny Goonan, the fire chief, asked me if we could use Starting Point as an example to show him what this does. And there's 18 guys in the house, the one that we walked through. And I stopped for a minute and I said, if you notice one thing, it's very quiet in here. There's nobody here. And I go, that's because they're working. So they're also paying taxes, they're being members of community, and they're, they're helping the community. Some of these houses that we've taken over literally almost had a body chalk outline on the floor. I mean, they weren't good places when we were done. They were good places. They were good guys, part of the community that give back on a regular basis. We've had neighbors that grow gardens in one of my yards. The lady did it for 20 years when we took over the building. She said, can I keep a garden here? I said, absolutely. So she chases us around and gives us big zucchinis. And, we want to be a part of the community. This is what it's for. This is a resource for the community.
Well, John will make sure you don't do a garden across the street. And
Oh, actually.
Slam it.
Perfect.
Awesome.
all right, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. Just appreciate it.
They'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the application for change of use for planning board.
There's no.
Oh,
There's no case.
okay.
So for the momentum property.
For the momentum properties, but to add compliance with police and fire, lighting, parking, and
And all state.
state and local permits.
And I'll second that.
Anything to add?
Any discussion or anything else to add?
Town ordinances?
Yep, said state and local ordinance.
State and local ordinance.
Ordinance or like.
Yeah.
permits?
Anything else to add?
Anything else to add before I make it, I second it? I second that then. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Take care.
Go your way and sin no more.
Thank you again. Great.
So you'll need to come in and see us.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, next case is Chick Dog Hotel.
And they
Chic.
withdrew.
Chick. I think it's
Chic dog.
It's chic. Chic. All right, and that was withdrawn. They could not get a lease, so that case is no longer with us. Okay?
Sounds like they died.
Huh?
It sounds like they died, they're no longer with us.
They're no longer with us on the agenda. You're not gonna be with us if you don't ride me.
I
All
have
right.
one last thing, Jane, if I can, just before we go into minutes.
Okay.
It should be quick. So I have one other thing. I just wanted to check with the board since we were meeting tonight. I've had a gentleman inquire about putting 2 light poles in his parking lot. And I hesitate to have him come in for an entire amended site plan for that. But again, we haven't done too many of these, so I kind of wanted to bring it forward. This is the dental office, which is down at 944 Laconia Road. It's a nice building. It's across from, it's way down by the cove, the Pirate Cove, just past Pirate Cove. I
Yeah.
believe it's on the left.
Yeah.
They just repaved the whole driveway and got a new driveway permit. from
And it
DOT.
sets back, doesn't it?
The house, the building, here, it's, well, this isn't shown, but here's, they did a site plan review back, I don't have the date on here, I wish I could put it down. But there was a rough site plan done, like back in the 2008. And at that time, actually, when they did this, there was some discussion. Catherine Dawson was on then, I remember looking at the minutes, and they had asked, are you going to put any lights in the parking lot when the dental office went in? And they said they felt that there was enough lighting. There was a wall, they have carriage lights on the building, and I think there's a pole light, like maybe a highway light. But they would like more lighting in the parking lot for their employees in the winter. So Daniel Electric has contacted me, and I gave them our regs. They originally wanted 20 feet. I told them I had 15 feet on height. They only want 2. The regs allow 1 for every 8,000 square feet, and they're just a little shy of that. They still would like the 2 lights, but they want to do it with 1. And I gave them all the specs for the lumens, which they met, and they gave me all the specs, everything downcast. So I'm inclined to tell them that's fine. We'll get the electrical permit, put those in. But again, I wanted to get the board's view or consensus, no vote, because we're not bringing this forward. And if you want them to bring in the site plan, we can do that, but it seemed a little bit of overkill. So
How does the board feel about that?
Originally was declined in.
no, it was never
No,
declined.
they
They didn't feel
have,
they needed it, and it was a different dentist, because I asked them about that.
The original site plan, you said, was a meeting with the planning board. They did-
On the
when did
entire
you go?
site,
Yeah.
yep, and the minutes, and, because I was curious why they probably didn't do it back then, and this was a different dentist that was there then, and he felt he didn't need the lights in the parking lot at the time. That, it was like one sentence, I think I had the minutes, it just said, I think Catherine asked the question, will you add lights? And he said, no, I think I have enough lights. This was now this new dentist, who's upgrading the building a little bit, doing some changes, would like more lighting in the parking lot. So that's where this comes from. So this isn't, they didn't deny it, they just never asked for it. So Anyway, that's the question. So it's certainly the purview of the board, how you want to proceed. You can have them come in, we can have do a full site plan, we can notify all the butters, we can, just seems a little costly for them too to do that. But again, it's
No,
all on.
We have requirements.
Right. Yep.
Building requirements, say requirements for the lights,
Yep.
and downcast. And how
Right,
much-
which is what I gave them all that, and that's when they responded with all the
Just need
information.
that,
Yeah.
whatever the requirements.
If they meet those
Yeah, but
requirements,
I
you
don't
go with
think they
that.
need to come in as long as they meet those requirements.
Could you please tell me what the address is again, please?
944 Laconia Road. It's, if you're heading to Belmont, it's on the left, right after Pirates Cove.
It sits way back, Tom.
Yeah, it's like
A little bit
It looks like a
Gables
house.
style house.
Exactly, Gabriel Style House.
Yeah. Do you have the name of the principal there? Not
No,
offhand?
I'd have to look, I'd have to.
That's okay.
grab it.
That'll be fine.
944, you can look,
And
Yeah.
so they want to put 2 poles in?
2 light poles.
Okay. And each one has how many lumens?
He has them here. I told him, I think they're limited to 9,500 lumens, which is 100 watt. Each, I think is, if I remember by reading through I read him all the requirements. I'll make sure he has them. I already emailed them all to him per the ordinance. 15 feet is the limit on height, everything downcast.
I just want to make sure that once, if we say yes, as long as he is within,
Right, obviously, right.
yeah,
Right.
that we have somebody go out and verify that that's the case, okay?
It'll be fine.
So did you state that 2 would be outside of what's allowed?
Yeah, by like 100 square feet. I think he has, it's 1 per 8,000. I think he has 17,800 square feet instead of, or I said that wrong, right? It would be 15,800. He was like 100 short of the 16,000 square feet that he needed. And he said he'd be happy to stick with the 1. They prefer 2, but I mean, I think we can look at it. I can go out there and take a
I
look.
mean, personally, I'd like to stick to whatever our.
What the regs are.
And the 1, if not, he can come in and,
Does the
you know,
ordinance
so
say,
neighbors would know because it's almost twice as
What
much.
does the ordinance say, Leanne?
1 per 8,000 square feet.
that's the minimum required though? It's not
Maximum.
limiting you
It's
to
not the
only
It's
have,
the maximum.
you can have more, right?
It's the
Well, we're
maximum.
gonna find out.
So be.
Oh, that's
so you don't
the
go 2 and 8,000.
So you don't-
You're like double it, the amount of light. that-
It's Winnisquam Dental. Tom, it's Winnisquam Dental.
Thank you. I believe I was there on Saturday, that's why
I think it's, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of,
Is that address correct, Christine? What address do you have for this one?
It's 944.
like Google.
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
not good.
this one is farm down.
Okay.
It's Swamp Dental, yeah.
Yep, good.
I'll get you the exacts.
Read the wording, that's what
Yeah,
I'm concerned
yeah.
about.
That's the 15 feet, lighting other than shall not exceed 15 feet. It's directed downward, such lighting, so lighting for, oh, that's signs, that's architectural illumination. Okay, fully shielded wall mounts, those ones. Okay. Here it is. So fully shielded pole mounted fixtures shall be limited to 9,500 lumens, which is a 100 watt high pressure sodium bulb. And the number of said fixtures shall be limited to 1 per every 8,000 square feet of ground surface area.
You'll have to do one.
That's what I said.
Not more than one.
You can put 2 on the pole.
On the pole.
Angle this way.
Seriously,
But it's the lumens, it can't be more than 9,500 lumens. which is only 100 watt. You know, and you can't have light trespassing. I mean, you have all these regulations, no light trespassing, no nuisance glare. Nothing higher than
But you
15
got
feet. It's not
Pirates
higher than
Cove
15.
there.
I'm sorry.
All right.
But you got Pirates Cove with lots of lights. Okay,
All right, so you're okay. They don't need to come back for minutes.
No.
Okay, great.
okay,
will
and
take care of
I have one thing. In our last meeting, we talked about the driveway permits and all, and we were gonna check with Kevin, but Kevin's been on vacation, so we get to that in the minutes. We're going to delay that till Kevin's been back long enough for us to consult with that, and we'll have him come in and talk about it. Okay?
Will it be here?
I don't know.
We're gonna ask for the next meeting next month, yeah. We have one-
Try to get him here
yeah,
then.
July. We have one meeting in July. You know, we'll have to see how many applications
we
that
have.
we have. You know, if we have too many. We do have a lot of applications that we've got in the past. We have a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot going on.
What are they gonna do?
What's that?
There's no lumber. What are they gonna do?
You'd be surprised.
I'm picking up lumber tomorrow.
Yeah, we have quite a few applications. U-Hauls come in, and that's gonna be
Yeah.
a pretty comprehensive application. They got their AOT. Yeah, I think we've got at least 3 or 4 for next month, so, and I was on vacation.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, the last order of business is the approval of the minutes from May.
Isn't
John?
other business after approval of minutes?
Yeah, Leanne bumped it up.
Oh, okay, because I had something on
Yeah,
other
sure.
business.
Yeah, it's okay.
You have
okay,
some?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we had some correspondence from DOT.
Okay.
You didn't get that?
I get a lot of correspondence on those from you.
Well, this is really important. They're disturbing over 500 feet of along the Winnipesaukee River, and they want to comment from us.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, you didn't get a copy?
We should all.
Yeah, it went to
We can
everybody
make
in
this
town
out.
hall and town stamped.
Take a
I
copy.
don't have all of it. There's more. But it says that they sent on the planning board.
Well, I didn't get it. Gail didn't send it.
You might want to find out what happened to it because it's really super important. So what they're doing is from the railroad bridge in front of the island, all the way up to like, you know where the dam used to be, that it's about where Salmon Run begins? Okay, they're going to be filling in that section and widening the road, which it needs work.
On
It's-
our
it's
side
on
or the other?
Our side.
Oh.
Okay, and where that guardrail is, the guardrail's failing, telephone poles have fallen down. The wall, because of drainage, has washed out and collapsed into the river.
John, are you talking about what's on this paper now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. I just want to make sure that I'm on the same page.
Okay, so what they want to do is completely rebuild that, and
Copies for us?
there's been some preliminary plans on what they were thinking about doing, and that was including just like some rip wrap and dirt into the river and going out at 2-to-1 slope. DOT asked for the planning board to comment on this as soon as possible. And on possible mitigation and stuff like that. One of the big concerns is once they fill that part of the river in, they're redirecting the river and the angle. So it's going to be pointing directly at the head of the island, which is already missing all the rocks. They're also, like, once you narrow down the river, you're actually increasing the velocity. Yeah, so if you have if you have a pipe that's 12-foot diameter and you decrease it to a 6-foot diameter, it's going to be shooting out further. So we have a it's not just a little bit, which is a minor impact. It's over 500 linear feet that's impacted, and they want to do it in September. So we need to get on this really, really
I got
quick.
it. Thank you.
So
So
the actual DOT is planning this.
That's what I was just asking. It's coming from DOT. and direct it to the planning board,
You-
just for comments. Is that right?
No, it went to the Conservation Commission.
No, it went, if you look on the back, this letter has been sent to the following departments and boards of commissions,
Oh.
Board of Selectmen, Planning Board, Town Administrator, Fire Department, Police Department, Public Works, Conservation Commission, Historical Society. The Historical Society, I've got another copy of some of the stuff that the Historical Society has asked for mitigation on it, because, they're moving pretty quick, so maybe this will give some ideas.
I wonder if all these people actually got this.
Everybody else got it.
Oh,
Ah,
you confirm that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Except for us.
Leanne, can you check to see why we did not get it?
For sure.
So John, their proposal is 530 feet
Yeah.
of guardrails
But I
from the
mean,
railroad bridge easterly, in the easterly direction, where the old dam is.
Yeah.
Are they gonna
It just
remove
came in
that
first.
dam?
just give it
well, the whole thing is
17th, right?
they haven't given us any plan of what they're going to do.
Yeah, do they have to?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think, and they're asking what we want in our role. If you look at numbers 1 through 11, those are the things that they're asking for us to comment on.
Oh,
If you start, top 10 priority list, existing pros, the regional plans, the Brandon project. And as you know, we've been trying to protect the island from washing away and getting grants for it and getting that. And that has a direct bearing on it. Historical, our natural resources, significance, wildlife corridors, habitat, cultural resources, of course, that was, as we're restoring all of our historical areas to the town. Salmon Run, we purchased that to protect it, that's a gateway into our town. Stone walls, cemeteries, historical, archaeological resource, that's a block wall that was created when they created the island behind that brush. So my suggestions is that we're requesting for more detailed information to the exact scope of the work, what they plan to be done, and be able to review that. And so we can make comment on it, because this is so big,
yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, how does it?
What size stone? Are they just gonna roll into the river? I mean,
Rip wrap.
yeah. it's
Yeah.
like-
Well, rip wrap's 3 to 6 inch stone.
oh,
They're going to do a hydrology report to see how that will change the flow of the river to protect our island, raise the water.
Do we have a preferred priority mitigation program?
There isn't, no. I mean, this is
Maybe we
way
should
beyond
check
my
no,
scope.
we're
There's a genie too.
That
We don't-
was, but just quickly,
I'd say
And this
bring
was
in our
not
genie.
to just
see-
planning board.
See, nobody owns,
Planning board. This is-
Second page.
the
says,
people of the state of New
everything.
Hampshire own the river.
Everything. Right, I mean,
We don't.
To let us be aware is what I read it as.
Yeah, I don't think-
these
It's
are-
scary.
It's
Simon.
Look,
It's scary.
It's not saying
These
the
are
planning,
copies
If we don't
of
say anything, it could just
what
be
this
done
is.
and there'd be a problem.
right, but they have engineers looking at this.
Oh, you don't?
Just,
Some transportation, the natural resources in this project.
So, yeah, they're asking
Just-
Genie would
Preliminary
have all
engineering
that.
studies, right.
Yeah, I'll
There is-
talk with Jeannie about it.
oh, I see what you're
we
saying.
And she's
can't
been on
together.
vacation too
Yeah.
since.
We
Friday. So this
can't, and
came in,
the police,
it's been a Thursday. She's been on vacation Friday, today, and yesterday as
So
well. So
I'd like to
Yeah.
make a motion that we send a letter to DOT, the person, senior environmental manager, requesting more detailed information and time to comment.
So it says engineering studies have been initiated to refine the scope of this project.
They have an engineer.
Right, so the Department Bureau of Environment is in the process of evaluating the potential environmental impact associated with the project. To assist with this evaluation, Ask that you provide comments relative to the project's potential impact on environment, social, economic, and cultural resources.
So that means all these boards.
Yeah.
Are to comment, including conservation, so we are one of the boards.
Not saying when, there's no date on when they want.
What I'd like to do is talk with Jeannie about it and see if we should do it as an individual board or if we should do it as the town.
This looks like something that maybe there should be a, like, a subcommittee formed.
Right, a
And
representative.
we need
from
to
all
bring
these
in the
towns.
master plan
Yeah.
and,
We
And then
don't
we can
have much time. This is going to start in September.
Does it say that on the paper?
it says the fall.
It's the fall.
It's proposed to begin the fall pending wetland permits.
I'm not opposed
So-
to vote, I'm getting.
But I mean, I don't think
Detailed
anyone here
information.
has the,
I'm not opposed to it either. I think that we need to talk to.
Well, I'm opposed to it. We don't know what they're doing.
Right, that's what he
Just
said,
that's
we
what
were
we-
asking us to
That's what
comment
we
on
just
something
said.
with No plans. And
Yeah.
that's why
That's what
I'd
we
like to make a
said.
Motion that we do ask for more information and that we have concerns.
Yeah, they should have plans, they should have,
Madam Chair.
Joe's raising his
So we
hand.
can,
Joe,
My understanding is that there's no way this is gonna happen this year. They hadn't even applied to DES for
Right.
working out in the river. Which is DES and DOT are two separate things. They can't put cranes in the river without going through all of those hoops. And I think every board should respond
Yes.
of their own, because everybody's gonna have different concerns, and if they send it to all of the boards, because I've already got a list at home, the head wall of the island, maybe that's something that we could get fixed out of this, and the
Mitigation.
diversion of, well, you're gonna increase the water flow per second, and sometimes it gets ripping through there, our island will be gone, you have to rebuild the end of the island.
Right,
That's a
right.
For instance, just as a for instance. But there's lots of concerns. But Jeannie said that there's no way this will happen this year. They haven't even gone out to bid.
if nobody comments, it could allow things to go through. And that's why I'd like to make a motion that we ask DOT for additional information and reserve the opportunity to comment in the future.
I'm gonna second that. I want more information.
did you get the motion, Janice?
I didn't.
So
One more time. That's okay. That's why I
I'm
asked.
making a motion that we contact
It's so cute.
the person on this letter.
Leanne has a copy, right?
Senior Environmental Manager of Department of Transportation.
this is though the Department of Transportation.
And we contact them and request for further information, more detailed information, and the opportunity to comment.
I think we should contact the engineer.
Well, that's what he's saying, we should be
No,
getting a
it's not the
plan.
engineer.
Yeah, and allow for time for additional comment.
Maybe to include who the engineer is.
The senior engineer, it's on there, right?
It's got the engineer, an engineer on it. Yeah,
And the second came from, I know I heard some.
Ian
second.
seconded it.
Interesting.
Where is
Oh, that's
Christine.
DOT.
no, I saw engineer name somewhere.
Well, that's the DOT. Is that what that was?
Yeah, that's the senior environmental manager, that's not an.
No, I saw an
Yeah.
engineer somewhere.
It's like the,
There is an engineer. I saw it.
John, what was the name you gave me?
Well, that's who sent the letter. That's who we should
I'm
respond.
gonna make a copy.
Right.
I'll give her a copy.
provide us plans.
Aaron Bills.
All right, that's what I need.
Just maybe mention in the letter as much detail as they do have, not,
And Christine, was it you who made the second?
yes.
That's all.
Yeah, I went.
I know. It scared me.
And can you get a copy to give it to us for our input to see if
Get what? I'm sorry, Jane.
The letter, I
letter.
think.
Do you want?
How, whatever letter you're gonna write to them.
What I'm gonna write?
Yes.
If we need input from the board, I guess, in the next meeting.
We don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, we can.
We
So
can't
it's
get.
just gonna be a very generic letter, just asking for more information
Yeah,
regarding the
yeah.
project.
Yeah.
That's outlined here.
Yeah.
That's really all we're asking.
Waiving, like, we
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, do that,
Say,
and
yeah,
then we can ask for more after that.
I'll drop the letter and Jane can sign it, and then we'll bring a copy to you, or I can email you a copy.
But what I'd like to do is write the letter, send it out to the planning board.
We can't discuss it now.
You can send you can send.
It's basically just gonna
comments back.
say, please provide more information relative to the project.
Detail.
We received a letter on such a date, we would like more detail, and that's really all it's gonna say, right? It's not-
In time, detail in time to be able to.
In
appropriately
time
respond.
to, review and comment.
In case they
And I'd
get
like to
everything
see,
approved real quick.
Yeah, because once we get it, we like to comment.
We have to
Not just-
vote on
Not
the.
just get a copy.
I'll second the
I second.
motion. Oh,
I
you
already
seconded
seconded.
it. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay.
Well, I'm sure the Conservation Commission definitely. I know that for it.
One of the things is, everybody has a different thought that other people might be overlooking.
I think for the planning board, we should look at the master plan too.
Yeah.
And bring that back and we can discuss it at the next meeting.
And all the stuff that Jean's done to preserve the bridge,
Yeah,
grants,
that
we
is-
just got the island, we just purchased the island, we just moved the county boundary, and we're working on getting grants to try and save the island, and then,
John, just out of curiosity, and unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to read the letter either, but what was the motive to have to make some of these changes?
well, we've been talking to them for many years. One of the problems is along that section and in front of Cumbies, there's one storm drain, and it's all the way down from Cumbies. So what happens is the water all just runs off into the river. But when it does that, it creates erosion and the water went behind the wall instead of washing out behind the wall. The other thing we have is that DOT is still to maintain the brush along the wall, except for the fact that every many years, they would, after we got after them, they would take the thing over the side and cut it. However, when you cut like that, if you've ever seen a grape orchard, you have stumps like this, little things coming out. So those things were growing out between the rocks and pushing, or the blocks, and it's a historical wall and upsetting them. And now bigger gaps, water washing out. The other thing is with the wing plow, when they're snow plowing, the guys ride the rail with the plow, actually push on it and run the
Wow.
side of the blade into it. And I'd say about 30 to 35% of all of the posts that hold that guardrail up are completely broken off, gone, rotted out, and all that. And it's also loosened a lot of the rocks and damaged the historical wall. So the emergency management plan that we have to come up with, one of the things was if that wall collapsed and that section of the road fell into the river or flood washed it out because it's starting to collapse, it would be major catastrophe. You would not be able to get from, and actually Eric knows well this. And Chiefs, and
Can't get out.
it was mentioned on the plan, Chief Satar brought it up. And so this was, their plan was from DOT, when we got to do something, they said, well, we'll just dump some dirt and riprap into the river and do it. So they sent this out asking for us to comment. And if we comment, say, no, we want it done right and correct, then we can get some hopefully get mitigation.
The way it was presented to the fire chief was that they actually want to push the rocks into the river more so that it creates, because right now, the biggest concern is, as John just said, is the flood coming down the river. And the way that corner is, that corner will be gone. We get a major hurricane or something like that, that corner is gone. And that is a major east, west, north, south route going somewhere. And the detour is pretty bad.
Mm.
And emergency response would be almost impossible. They fix it temporarily, but you still have to fix it.
So, like, did this person that presented it, he presented it to the
No,
fire department?
Contact the chief just to ask about the impact that it would have on the construction of emergency response, because they're planning on closing one lane.
You can imagine the mess.
And that was the first conversation, we don't know. From the fire district, they were just asking about, my response was nighttime. Good. And then it comes up.
Well, it's like John sent, I don't know, I saw it on, and Facebook isn't the end all be all, but John posted something on Facebook, which I think is really important, is starting a bucket brigade over on the island because the roots of the trees are all, the soil's all been removed from the roots of the trees because of erosion. And, I think we have a lot of situations like that where we really need to be aware of what's going on. Another thing, and I sat on the zoning board, and somebody had bought a lot that had very little wetlands 20 years ago. Now, because of trees being cut, there's issues with wetlands. The wetlands have moved. Those are things that we really need to be aware of, is each of us has no matter what board we're on, to be aware of those things.
One of the things that preservationists try to do is preserve things, and it's not always a good thing. That river is going to constantly be moving and changing. It's never going to end that way. If you've been in Europe, they put riprap on both sides of the river and contain it, and they build it up high enough so it can't flood, and that's it. We don't do that. We let the river take its course, and then we do something about it after it happens. They're trying to do something before it happens. So as far as head walls go, and I've worked in coffer dams, and it's not a pleasant experience, believe me. But as far as the island goes, the island can be saved. The island can be preserved. But if we slow the water down, it'll be a big help. But I think that if like what's happened, if we have a flood here, and that guardrail goes into the river, and the poles go with it, we're going to be in big trouble. And we can't just say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We have to need an engineer. And sometimes you have to tell civil engineers that water flows downhill. But you got to have an engineer that knows what the feet per second is and the gallons per second at its 100-year level. And that's what you have to build it for, regardless of whatever results is there. And I'll tell you something, Chuck and Kathy Mitchell have done an outstanding job of that little riverfront park that they put in right there. They busted there, what's getting that ready. And I'd like to see that continue down to where it can't go anymore. That was just my personal feeling. But that's not the way it's going to be, whatever the money is said. But the island can be fixed. And I've got my idea in my head of how to do it, but it's going to take a lot of money. And it's up to the town, it's up to everybody individually to get behind it. And that's just my thoughts.
And one of these things that's on the letter is they're asking what type of mitigation would we like. So they would do that, because it might change things, they can do some things for mitigation. And one of them is maybe they could go and do the engineering study and protect the island and the rocks, on the front, and protect that so that the town doesn't have to pay for it and doesn't have to come with the taxpayers' money. And they're offering to do mitigation for us. they're asking us what mitigation is like. Yeah. One idea.
Okay,
That's it.
all right, anything else? Now we can do the minutes.
Page 2, there's an extra L halfway down, 3/4 of the way down.
Page 2.
Page 2, we got J. Alden asked, if we have fire department letter, and then L, and then L. Moynihan. Said we have a letter of assembly.
Thank you.
It's gonna kill me.
Christine. Keep going.
Anything,
You're
wait,
welcome.
oh, there I see it. Anything else? I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And our next motion,
When's our next meeting, by the way?
July 13th. We have one meeting in July, only one.
motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Has anybody ever opposed that? I want to know.
Oh,
On
John,
any board?
John proposed going to the minutes so we could adjourn.
Yeah,
You want,
I didn't,
Janice?
I didn't pay attention. You said we're going in a different.
Christine, we finished?
I'm just giving you a hard time. I gotta go get those that paperwork.
Yeah, okay, that's all right.
John, I'm very interested in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
glad you brought it up.
Wait a minute, did I get a
I heard it was,
second on the adjournment? Did you get it?
a preliminary sketch type thing,
Yeah.
and they should have 2-to-1.
No, I made the motion.
To adjourn?
Yeah.